we're still getting snow in many areas, but as Ida mentioned, there's also some sleet starting to slide in already. I've had reports of sleet around Staten Island and also out towards Denville and Randolph, getting a little bit of some ice pellets starting to mix in with the snow. It's not showing up here on the radar, but it's definitely there. And we can see that the temperatures are still extremely cold with readings in the single digits and teens out there. Be careful if you're going out to hang out in the snow, especially with the little ones and the pets. It's really cold out, so try not to stay out quite as long if you have to go out and about. In the meantime, let's take it hour by hour to show you what's happening. Let's look at snow totals, checking out some of the totals around the tri-state so far. And across northern New Jersey, upwards of 7.5 inches. Had some reports of up to 9 inches in parts of northern Morris County, where this is a little higher elevation, where you're getting a little bit more across the area. So here's River Edge, Sparta, Cliffside Park at 7.2 inches, and Rivervale at 7 inches of snow. We're expecting a little bit more, although we're getting reports of some mixing there in terms of the snowfall right now. So conditions are starting to show some icing and some warmer air starting to move in at some of the higher elevations. And so some of that snow is melting and we're getting those little ice pellets. Long Island, Syosset with 6.5 inches. Glen Cove, you've got 6, the latest report. Smithtown with 5 and 5.5 in Eastport. Across Long Island as well. Many areas across Long Island have seen upwards of 5 to 7 inches of snow so far. So the reports keep coming in because the snow keeps piling up. Here's a look at the Staten Island Expressway, and the visibility is a whole lot better there now because of the mixing that's happening. It's not all snow. Feels like 2 degrees in the city. Feels like it's below zero into all locations north and west of New York City. Minus 12 in Hartford, 11 below in Monticello. Along the coast, it feels like single digits in teens. With Toms River, you still feel like you're below zero too at 29. Look at satellite and radar looking back to the west, because you know this is a huge storm. It's not just here in the tri-state, but it's also off to the west as well. And we can see the back edge of that mostly across parts of the Midwest and the Ohio Valley. It's all rain now from near Atlanta down to the Gulf Coast. Some thunderstorms are happening there. So some very heavy rain across that area right now for sure. And our storm system is, of course, still with the snow and the mix. We have winter storm warnings in effect through tomorrow morning because of the accumulations of snow and ice now. It's going to be treacherous. We've already seen with Dave Price out and about just how slick it is out there on the roads. Don't be fooled. It's really slick out there, and really, you shouldn't be out unless it's an emergency in your vehicle. So the winter storm warning will remain in effect through tomorrow morning because conditions will remain pretty treacherous on the roads. Temperatures right now to the north of New York City, we've got a lot of single digits. Newtown, Danbury, Lake Carmel, it's 7 degrees, the actual temperature in Montgomery. We know that the wind chills are below zero. 11 in Armonk, 10 in Norwalk, and Stamford, you're at 13. So in the city, it's 13 degrees right now. We're supposed to go up to 22. That may be a little bit later on this evening as some warmer air comes in. Snow heavy at times, and yes, sleet is starting to mix in. Some freezing rain, that glaze of ice may start to accumulate in the shore areas. Temperatures will remain cold. The stuff's not going to melt anytime soon. Tonight's low temperatures will stay steady with some snow showers, but it's starting to taper off overnight. Tomorrow, we could still be left with a bit of light snow in the morning in some areas, northerly winds. Temperatures are in the upper 20s. It's going to feel like the teens all day long. And here's our exclusive 10-day forecast. We can expect it to stay frozen solid. We're not going to get out of the 20s during the day and single digits and teens at night until we get to next Monday, when we expect to be up to near 30. And it's still below freezing. So a lot of the ice and snow that you're seeing accumulate now, it's just going to hang around. Maybe in the sun, you might get a little bit of melting, but not much. So just be prepared for this cold to remain, dangerously cold, and a lot of snow and ice to remain as well. Back to you.
Looks like that snow is going nowhere for quite a while.
Yeah.
Janice, thank you.
Long haul. Speaking of long hauls, Dave Price has been making a tour of the 5 boroughs today. He's been to all of them. He is back now in Manhattan. Dave, about where are you right now, and how are you doing on your journey today?
No, first of all, we are on 2nd Avenue and just about 83rd Street. We're going to spin on to 2nd Avenue and show you conditions. We're doing great. We're doing great because of the work that so many municipal employees throughout the 5 boroughs have done today. I mean, giving it their best to get ahead of what is a really challenging situation. We are now seeing that, that freezing precip. That's the result we talked about a little earlier this week, that intrusion of warmer air aloft, so that you have something that starts out as rain and then freezes when it runs into that colder air further down on its journey to ground level. And so we're seeing these little pellets begin to work their way. And once those begin to accumulate on top of one another, you get the ice rink effect. You can see folks waving to us along 2nd Avenue. I will tell you, here in Manhattan, there is for lack of a better way to say it, kind of a playful aura along the sidewalks as people are now beginning to emerge. We're on 2nd Avenue. We're making a left and going further to the east right now, but there are plenty of folks who are working their way toward Central Park and pushing away from Central Park. You can see those, those kind of, what do they call them? The plastic things that you kind of ride down the hills, and the sleds, sleighs, et cetera, et cetera. So people are now getting out and kind of embracing the conditions which are upon us. I can tell you from personal experience with my own family, my own kids went out, and we're out for a relatively short period of time just because it is really cold. And earlier, the snow was coming down at a clip, and it can really, be biting. But we're watching folks begin that process now. The urban explorers are, trying to keep their cars clean off the windshields, try and, make the work a little less overwhelming once they really decide to get in and use those vehicles again. We are going to wind up with the same dilemma that we often do with folks who park their cars on the street. The plows roll through and roll through and roll through, and all of a sudden you are plowed in by hundreds of pounds of snow and ice. Difference is this time, that's not just going to last for the storm and 12 hours later. That's going to last the entirety of that 10-day forecast, which Janice was talking to you about. So if your car is plowed in, you either got a lot of work ahead of you, or just wait. This is our little illustration to folks at what it's like to live in Green Bay during the winter. It's going to be a long frozen tundra for a little while. Roads, now we're on 1st Avenue. We're heading uptown just a little bit. Maybe we'll make a left on 86th and take it to 5th Avenue. They need some work. There's a lot of snow on the ground here. 2nd Avenue did look better, but perhaps we're waiting for plows to come on through. But we're in for more precipitation as we head through the day. You can tell there's not a lot of vehicular traffic, but you are seeing there we got either a skier or a walker. What is that? Let's see. Nope, that's just a person walking with walking sticks. So we see walking sticks, we see shovels, we see sleighs and sleds and winter toys. What we don't see is a lot of open storefronts. So a lot of folks, even here in the city, may be taking the day off. Wise words. So folks, stay indoors, and enjoy the sights. And we will see you bright and early tomorrow morning. In the meantime, check in on Instagram and follow us. And don't forget that little QR code in the corner, and you can get all the weather information we have right at your fingertips. We'll send it back to you.
All right,
Okay,
rest up, Dave. We'll see you tomorrow on Today in New York.
Cheers.
Cheers to that, and our coverage continues.
Well-deserved coffee right there. Yeah, you're not seeing a whole lot of blacktop, even though we know DSNY crews are out there, more than 2,200 plows out there working 12-hour shifts. We do want to check in with Andrew Siff now, who's in Jackson Heights, Queens, to give us how things are looking there, a perspective of what it looks like where you are.
Right. Well, first of all, I can confirm what Dave talked about, the changeover to freezing precipitation. You can hear it. Sleet and frozen rain pellets have a certain sound to it. And this has all changed in the last 10 to 15 minutes. In fact, If you take a look at some video we got just a little while ago in Jackson Heights, this was still all snow just a half an hour ago as folks were trudging around trying to get to the subway, which is running. We'll talk about that in a moment. Virtually all the lines are running. But we did, for the first time, encounter some folks who are asking questions about when they're going to see cleaner roads out there, even though it is a vast snow removal operation. Listen to what Mike Rivera from Bayside had to tell us about what he observed driving here to Jackson Heights from Bayside.
It was crazy, and drove from Bayside, and the roads are ridiculous. The mayor got to do a better job with where the snowplows at.
Well, what they say is they're not going to get down to blacktop until it really stops snowing, but they keep passing and passing.
I haven't seen no snowplows yet at all.
Now, I talked to the sanitation department, and what they said is they've got this live viewable map of where all the plows have gone. 2,200 plows out there have hit every road or street in New York City already. But of course, it's still precipitating, so they're going to have to do it again. They're urging patience, and anybody expecting blacktop at this hour in the middle of the storm, it's an unrealistic expectation. Now, we do want to pivot as well. Officials have been talking about the severity of this storm, from the governor to the mayor, and they're stressing that the cold is a factor that simply can't be ignored. Here's what Governor Hochul had to say earlier, and then you'll hear from Mayor Mamdani as well.
Sort of an Arctic siege has taken over our state and many other states across the nation. And the snowstorm we've been expecting is now underway, but it is brutal, it is bone-chilling, and it is dangerous.
Now, this storm is not only bringing snow with it, it carries temperatures colder than any sustained period this city has experienced for 8 years. For those without shelter, the intense cold can be fatal. Yesterday alone, before the snow had even begun to come down, at least 5 New Yorkers passed away and were found outside. I send my deepest condolences to their families and loved ones. While we do not yet know their causes of death, there is no more powerful reminder of the danger of extreme cold and how vulnerable many of our neighbors are, especially homeless New Yorkers.
Mayor Mamdani speaking at the Office of Emergency Management about 90 minutes ago. Now, pivoting a little bit to two other topics. One has to do with school. New York City's, of course, the largest public school system in the nation. They are going to pivot to remote learning tomorrow. Everybody remembers what happened in 2024 when Mayor Adams tried for a remote day and the login system got overloaded. A picture, the equivalent of trying to buy tickets for your favorite concert all at the same time and you can't get through. That's what happened to the students. This time, Mayor Mamdani and his new chancellor, Kamar Samuels, say they have stress tested the system. They also have an added advantage because high schools are already actually closed tomorrow. So it's only the elementary and the middle school students who've been asked to participate in the online learning, which starts tomorrow. They believe it is going to work. One other thing we should tell you, behind me you can see the elevated train, the 7 train. It's running, and yesterday, MTA Chairman Janno Lieber had said if there is an aspect of subway service that could be imperiled by the weather, it would be the elevated lines. So far, that has not been the case. The only major change subway-wise out there is that the express routes like the 4 train and the 2 train and the Q train are running local. That's the latest reporting live in Jackson Heights. Andrew Siff, News 4 New York.
Okay, Andrew, thank you so much. I can speak from experience. Personally, just took the train in, and they were not running as usual, as Andrew mentioned, so you just have to get used to, more time between trains. But they are running, and they're getting people to where they need to go on a very snowy day out there.
Yeah, we often say it, but definitely give yourselves plenty of time if you do have to be out there. The other story of the day really has been the sheer number of drivers on the road, where officials from all municipalities are saying, please stay home, do not go out unless you need to. We want to check in now with the Commissioner of Passaic County, Orlando Cruz. Orlando, thank you for being with us.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
What are you contending with this morning, or this afternoon, I should say?
Yeah, we are really working with what we anticipated. Snow's coming down heavy, especially right now, and we have some spots in the county that are experiencing some of the freezing rain changeover. But as I said, it is what we anticipated. Our crews have been out since 4 a.m. When they met, and and they're anticipating and prepared to work for as long as they need to, but right now at least for the next 48 to possibly 36 hours.
Commissioner, what's your advice to the people of Passaic County who are watching at home right now?
I'll echo the sentiments of what many have said already. If you do not need to leave your home, if it's not absolutely necessary, please stay off the roads. Let the emergency crews do their work. Let the plows do their work to clear the roadways as best as possible. Salt is not something that will be working right now at this moment. We laid down initial salt in the beginning, and now it's just plowing and pushing as much snow as possible off the roads to clear the road.
And Commissioner, we've been talking about.
No, I was just going to say, once we get to what is known as blacktop, we'll lay more salt down.
Commissioner, on that note, we've been talking about locations where there are vehicles disabled, disrupting traffic. Do you believe that the people of Passaic County have heeded those warnings to stay home? Are you dealing with any of those issues right now?
We've had very minimal experiences with that. I've been on the road and checking some of the areas of Passaic County. We have not seen much of that, so we really appreciate the residents of Passaic County adhering to these warnings.
Commissioner, I know we still have a lot of day left to go here on Sunday, but what are you expecting as far as operations for your county tomorrow?
Absolutely. As I said, the guys are prepared to work at least, as I said, through the next 24 to 48 hours, possibly 36 hours. They'll be on the roads. We encourage them to take as many breaks as possible, but they'll be continuing to work throughout the night until the job is accomplished.
Good reminder to thank those workers out there who are going out and making sure that everybody else stays safe and can stay home and has that luxury to do so. Commissioner Orlando Cruz from Passaic County, New Jersey, we appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Stay safe, everyone.
You too.
All right, let's talk about the wider impacts of this storm system. LaGuardia Airport now closed and will remain closed until at least 8 o'clock tonight. We're learning a huge impact for people who thought they might be getting out, thought there was a potential of boarding a flight. That is not happening, the FAA has determined.
Yeah, I'd imagine a lot of those airlines sent out the cancellations hopefully this morning and made sure that people knew that it was unlikely they were going to get out of these local airports today. But LaGuardia now again closed until at least 8 p.m. because of this massive winter snowstorm impacting the entire tri-state in a way that we haven't seen in years around here, where even New York City, it's shocking, Gilma, just coming in here to work within the last hour to see the city that quiet. It's unusual, but that is good news that people are mostly staying home and trying to get the crews out there to give them some space to get things done.
Yeah, and we think about how encouraging it is that this is happening on a Sunday when hopefully most people can stay home. Yeah. Children aren't going to school. Children hopefully can get out and enjoy the snow in a safe way, and you're not seeing the number of commuters that you normally would during a Monday through Friday situation. So there's a silver lining there.